Alrighty, everyone, it is time to talk about episode 7 of The Last of Us TV show. Only 2 episodes left. That stresses me out. Also, before we go any further, I usually don't wear lipstick on YouTube. Technically, it's not lipstick, it's like colored lip balm, but I busted my lip, so we're trying to hide that. So, episode 7, really all about Ellie, which, because I wasn't watching previews, I somehow totally missed was going to be a thing, but this is very much an episode based on the Last of Us Left Behind DLC. And I very much appreciate the deeper insight into how Ellie became who she is as a character, because I still maintain that I feel like the show version of Ellie and the game version of Ellie are quite different. Having the flashback not just to everything that happened with Riley, but also to who Ellie was in school and how she treated her peers, how she was treated by her peers, explains a lot more of her character in a way that I felt was totally justified. It didn't feel like filler to me at all. I saw some people say that, and I totally disagree. It answered a lot of questions that I had about Ellie. And also, damn, Bella Ramsey's performance in this episode was fantastic. And even with all of that said, like feeling like it justifies this version of Ellie, I feel like it was a really faithful retelling of Left Behind as well. So obviously this episode would be set just a few weeks, maybe a couple of months before Joel and Ellie actually met. So it's not like we're seeing her childhood, but we were seeing a little bit of what her life looked like before she went on this adventure with Joel, who goes on a brief adventure with who we presume is her best friend slash crush, Riley. And going to the mall in this show, not only was the set design once again absolutely incredible, but I also felt like a sense of wonder personally. Like, it wasn't just that it looked very, very, very good. I imagine this is a real mall in Canada that they had to like add set dressing to. They just did a fantastic job, totally believable. I couldn't tell if it was a set or if it was CG or if it was a real mall. It looked amazing. But there is something really fun about seeing a mall in this universe for the viewer as well. Really interesting episode in terms of like seeing brands that we recognize, things that exist in shopping centers, like the Body Shop or a Victoria's Secret or a GameStop, but obviously they're dilapidated and run down. I think the GameStop sign had the T flickering or something. There's something about that that just like warmed my heart. I don't know why. I worked there for years, technically EB Games, which is the Australian version. But yeah, seeing the mall and having Ellie be as excited as she was to see all of it was nice, because it was mirrored by me being excited to see all of it and to see different parts of it. I really just enjoyed that environment probably more than any we've seen so far in the show, and it's been full of beautiful environments. And of course, we got a lot of Easter eggs, things that are basically exact from the Left Behind DLC, like the carousel and the photo booth. And with all of those positive things in mind, I feel like the point where this episode showed up was very good. We came off of some dark, heavy, very emotional, grueling scenes, and to see 2 kids play in a mall effectively, even though it still ends in a dark, negative way, that was like exactly the right time for this kind of episode. They're giving us a lot of levity and a lot of variation between episodes, and I really appreciate that. And it was really nice to see Ellie have fun, to see her act like a kid, to see how she reacted to the escalators, which is something that, like, I totally did when I was a kid. I fucking loved escalators. You're always trying to run backwards up the escalator if you're a kid. Like, that stuff was just really fun. Related to that also, I felt like the music in this episode was particularly fantastic. We had some great classic songs woven into the story here in a way that I just generally really appreciate. Good chemistry between the 2 characters, and some good action at the end there as well, when, of course, the love story falls apart thanks to a third uninvited guest. Which related, can we just address how long they were there for making noise before that thing actually showed up, where in previous episodes they're on them like immediately? I get that the show is all about entertainment and that not everything needs to be taken that seriously, but I have questions. But then yeah, ending of course with the loss of Riley and Ellie's fear of that happening again and giving her motivation to really save Joel. That's really come to light in these last 2 episodes very strongly, I think. There's a thing that I didn't like so much at the start of the show, or that I was like very much anticipating, I would say. I think if you watch my earlier episodes, I was like, I don't buy that they like each other. She's very harsh, but I think it's paid off in the way that I kept saying. I'm sure they'll pay it off. It just hasn't paid off yet. And I do feel like episodes 6 and 7 really sealed the relationship, but it still feels like we have a lot of ground to cover in 2 episodes. Like, I don't feel like Joel is yet at the point that he would be doing the thing he's going to do. 2 episodes ain't that much. It seems like it's gone so fast, and I don't want it to be over yet. So all of that said, I previously have said that I felt most episodes were rushed. They were too fast. I wanted extra details or slightly less detail on certain aspects. This is the first episode that felt like it was maybe a little bit longer than I needed it to be. I did think that it was very, very, very well written, this episode. I buy the relationship between these two teenage girls living in the world that they're living in. I think the 4 Wonders of the World thing was maybe a little bit longer than it needed to be, and that there was a lot of really good stuff here, and it's not like I would have cut a lot from it. But there were some moments that I don't think needed to be just as built out as they were, in favor of probably I would have added a little bit extra on to the end of this episode with Ellie doing everything she could to save Joel beyond just the stitches, of course. I also think that this episode, because it is so similar to episode 3 with Bill and Frank, is not quite as strong regarding the love story and the loss. And because of that, it's hard not to make the parallels to episode 3, which I think did it so well, like so flawlessly, that episode 7 is not anywhere near as heartbreaking, or at least I definitely didn't have the same reaction to it. But yeah, I ultimately definitely felt like it was really good to see it. It was a really good choice to put it where they put it. It was really nice to see how Ellie became who she became and see a different side of her and essentially get some insight into the side of her that she sort of locked off, to be honest. Fantastic performance from Bella. Feel like she did a really, really, really great job. I think I just still, at this point, would have liked to see a bit more Joel and Ellie in this episode. And I think that that's really just because I feel like there's so much ground to cover in the next 2 episodes that I don't feel like they're at the point yet where Joel would make the choice he has to make. But it's so hard to say this without seeing the whole show. You know, they could blow me out of the water and make a ton of progress that next week. I don't know, do I? And I think maybe I feel this way just because we're coming off of the Kathleen stuff, which I ended up feeling similarly about, which is like, I don't need Kathleen fleshed out that much. That's not to say I wanted to be one note or anything, but I would have liked to see more Joel and Ellie. And I think that that is consistently the way that I'm feeling at this point. Because I figure the games are about them, the show should be about them, but I'm still very happily along for the ride. I also think that like the way that I'm feeling is probably just because I know what's going to happen, right? Like if I didn't know what was going to happen and what's inevitable, I probably wouldn't feel this way at all. It's so hard to watch something that's such an accurate, faithful recreation for the most part. Like the core themes are the same. Of course, there are differences between the show and the game, which I'm also very happy about. But it's difficult to watch something and not feel very attached to it and like what's happening and what's going to happen and where they should be at a certain point when you kind of almost feel like you know these characters, which is really strange. And I think that is it for episode 7. I'll have a chat up tomorrow with Lucy James from GameSpot/Giant Bomb and Khalifa Adams from Spawn on Me about episode 6 and 7 because I wasn't able to do the discussion last week because I was away at a video game conference, and hope to continue streaming the game tonight, tomorrow night. I don't know, soon. There's a lot going on right now. And as we get closer to the boxing match, I'm probably going to have to like pull back content even more. So just trying to manage where I can. Let me know what you guys thought of episode 7. I would love to hear your input. I'm sure that people are going to tell me I'm overly critical again, even though I still think the show is very good and very much like it, to be clear. I'm Alanah. I will see you guys next time. Bye!